The Los Angeles Lakers, Wes, are facing some interesting questions heading into the offseason, which is a thing you could just postmark as true of every LeBron team for his entire career. The short contracts, the trade rumors, the uncertainty, but especially as he nears 40, I think it's an interesting season for it. He has a player option. The Lakers did not make a move at the deadline with the idea of, hey, we're not going to just, send off the farm for incremental improvements without the certainty of having this core in place long term. Darvin Ham's name has come up as a hot seat. What do you think will determine what LeBron does? What do you think is the most key thing that he's thinking about, that the Lakers need to be worried about, that other teams need to be putting into motion to get his commitment and get LeBron either back to LA or anywhere else? What matters to him right now?
That is the biggest question, and I don't think anybody knows, and I'm not even sure LeBron knows at this point what it is.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Bronny. I think this storyline that he's just going to go wherever Bronny goes is totally misguided. That's like going house hunting and saying, okay, we need a 2-car garage, we need a 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, we need a yard, we need a pool, and then being like, you know what? Actually, all we were looking for was a kitchen island. Let's just get this. We don't need any other stuff. Like, Bronny's the kitchen island, right? It'd be nice to have it, but it's not the main thing. And so what is LeBron looking for? Is he looking to win another ring? Is he looking for money? Is he looking to stay in Los Angeles? Like, what's the priority? And I'm going to be really interested to see what happens with Team USA, because I think that might tell LeBron what his priority is. Because maybe right now it feels like, coming off of the playoffs, man, I just really want to compete. I want to win a championship. That's my number one thing. But at 39 years old, going on 40, if he goes on and saves Team USA after a disappointing showing at the FIBA World Cup, and he says, I'm going to lead Team USA to gold in Paris, and on a star-studded team, but I'm LeBron. I'm still the biggest deal in every room that I walk into. It's my team, and it will be.
I'll be Kobe in 2008, right?
That could be his crowning achievement, arguably, is if they go ahead and win gold, he'd be like, boom, done. My legacy is solid. I just saved America. Like, you could do that. Or the flip side of that is, I just won a champion. I just won gold again. I really like this feeling. I'm not ready to give it up. I want another shot at this, right? It can kind of go both ways. If he does go on and try to win a championship, I don't know that you could do that with the Lakers. I think you almost have to go to the Eastern Conference and find a team there to sign with. Does he take less than the max? I know that it's been reported by Brian Windhorst that he would take less, that he's going to opt out so they can get a better contract with the Lakers, presumably, or whatever team, and then kind of negotiate a no-trade clause and add all that stuff in. That's a little bit more favorable to him, puts him in more control. But I don't know. If I'm him, I think everything's got to be on the table. There's going to be conversations that he has with Team USA, with guys like Steph and whoever else, and it's going to be like,
sure,
all right, like, what's the vision here? Because he's going to be recruited. We know that. So
probably already is, right?
Right, exactly. If Draymond's not already texting him, like, we already know that the Warriors tried to get something done with the Lakers at the deadline. I think everything's got to be on the table.
I do too. I think the other element that probably is factoring in is his desire to be an owner. Because from a contract standpoint in the upcoming years, whatever amount of time he has left in the NBA, you're talking about, if he could make $60 million next year and instead he takes the minimum, which I don't think he'll do, but let's just say it could happen. Mid-level exception. That's $50 million less dollars. Are you going from a 20% owner in the Vegas NBA franchise to an 18% owner? Or some, right. Every dollar really does count for this guy in a different way than it does when somebody in free agency is just nickel and diming in negotiations. He doesn't need the money for his lifestyle. But he does need the money fulfill his next chapter.
He can generate that money via investment funds and people investing on LeBron James and stuff. So it's a little bit like he's
So do you think he would take the minimum?
I don't know. I would love for this to be the case where he plays another 2 years, as the Athletic reported, like he probably wants to play another 2 years, and just take 1 year mid-level exceptions and just win 2 more championships. Just do it. And then you've got 6 rings. Like, how cool would that be? And that leads me to my list, Brendon, is
Let's do it.
the most fun teams for LeBron to end up on. Honorable mention before we get to the top 5, Oklahoma City. You mentioned it's not a great basketball fit, but you mentioned his ownership, that he wants to own the Vegas team. It's been pretty clearly signaled that the GM that is going to want is Sam Presti. He goes out of his way to praise him every single time. When I mean out of his way, it's like if basketball comes up in conversation, he finds a way to put Sam Presti into that conversation. You go recruit him from inside the building in Oklahoma City. It's private jet. You don't have to live in Oklahoma City. No shade to Oklahoma City, but you don't have to live there. Private jet. You can Taylor Swift that baby. Do it that way. So that's an honorable mention. I hate the basketball fit. I want the Thunder to stay what they are as a young team. I hate the basketball fit, but that would be kind of just interesting from a back channel, like, oh, Presti's going to end up moving to Vegas at some point.
I mean, he's better than Gordon Hayward, right? So not a terrible basketball fit.
And that's the sell, right? If you're LeBron, you just say, look, I know you guys have a good thing going here, and you might not want me, but I could just be a better version of what Gordon Hayward is. So,
okay. All
right, number 5. You ready?
Yep.
Chicago. It's fun because it's Michael Jordan's team, and it would just be fun if Michael Jordan went there, or if LeBron James did there, tried to win the ring to tie him with Jordan in Chicago. Does he see Kobe White as perhaps a young Kyrie Irving, Patrick Williams as a core piece? You'd have to make another trade. Could you get him and Anthony Davis to Chicago? Who knows? I don't know. There's Anthony Davis.
We're number 6 again. Go back to that era. Yeah, I like it.
Thing. Number 5. All right, number 4 is Dallas. Reunited with Kyrie Irving. You get him with Luka Doncic. What I like about this too is it would be the best big 3 in the league: LeBron, Luka, Kyrie. You would be able to, if there's a limit on Luka right now, it's his conditioning, and then you get LeBron to get Luka under his wing and kind of teach him the $1 million a year on your body whole LeBron system, right? And then basically, if you're LeBron James and you win a championship with the Mavericks, with Luka and Kyrie, and then you sail off of the sunset, you could almost claim victory for every Luka win after that if you can get him into LeBron-like shape. And that would be great for his legacy. So we know that that LeBron is a storyteller and he likes to spin a tale, and that would be something
when I went to Dallas,
right?
Yeah, I like the narrative you're building. I like that there is a story element to it. I could see the Last Dance episode, part 2 with LeBron featured of the Dallas chapter, and he's in the weight room with Luka, and Luka's puking, and I can definitely feel it. But again, basketball fit wise, it's a little rough. They're both kind of the same player in terms of how they're used. That's a rough.
They'd figure it out though. Speaking of proteges, the San Antonio Spurs.
Speaking of guys you can't say enough good things about,
right?
Greg Popovich.
You get to finally be coached by Greg Popovich, a coach you respect and have always kind of wanted to be coached by. You get to get paired with Victor Wembanyama, who could be your co-star right now going into your sophomore year. Like there's your top 2 players. You probably have to make another deal somewhere, somehow, to get a third guy there and flesh out the rest of the roster with some depth. But that's easy to do once you've got LeBron in the building. He can recruit that. And everybody says Victor Wembanyama needs a point guard. LeBron could be that point guard. Good. All set. And then you kind of do the same thing with Luka, where it's like, I came in, I was Victor Wembanyama's David Robinson, right? I was able to kind of shepherd him to his first championship, and he just took off from there. One of the all-time great careers. It all started with LeBron. Be kind of cool. All right, that's number 3. Number 2, obvious reasons, the Golden State Warriors. I don't love even having this number 2 because it's kind of fun, but then also at the same time, I kind of hate it.
Like the thing with that with me is like, even if they got him and let's say they had to give up very little, are they winning a title? I don't think they are. I think they're like pretty close to what the Lakers were this year.
Yeah, because you would probably have to get rid of all your depth. It would be the Wiggins contract, then all the young pieces, and then whatever draft picks they have. And so you're looking at Steph, LeBron, maybe Clay still comes back, Draymond, and that's pretty much the team, and Kevon Looney for fun. Like that's pretty much the team there. That's a good
average
team.
Age 36.
Yeah, they'd be broken down by the playoffs, but it would be fun in a, oh my God, all these legacies are now tied together. What do we even make of this from a media perspective? It would at least be interesting. I also would totally hate it. I probably should have made this the honorable mention. I don't even know why I have it number 2. It should be number 5. Number 1. We know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
The New York Knicks.
Oh, I thought you were going Miami Heat.
No, you know what? It would be, but we've been there, we've done it. I don't know that it's terribly interesting for anybody. No, the New York Knicks. So here's the thing with LeBron is he still has a lot of haters out there. And if he went to the Knicks and won a championship and was the co-star next to Jalen Brunson and could be coached by Thibodeau, who's a good coach that he respects, and you go to New York City and you win a championship in Madison Square Garden, that the haters are going to fall away because New York City is the epicenter of media. It's the epicenter of opinion. It's the epicenter of culture. And if you win over that town, you are going to be beloved for the rest of your life in a way that nobody really is outside of perhaps Michael Jordan, right? And so in terms of legacy building and storytelling, going and winning the championship for the Knicks, and I actually kind of love it as a basketball fit, makes a lot of sense, and it would be really cool. And I'll say this, I do think LeBron, if he is going to move from the Lakers, go to the Eastern Conference where it's easier. Go back east, where there's a little bit less of friction on the path, and you can maybe have it easier. You can win 48 games and not be a play-in team, right? You can win 48 games and be one of the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference, and maybe have home court advantage in the first round. Like, it's an easier path. Yeah. And the Knicks would be kind of just like the coolest, obvious version of it.
There's this stat that's been creeping its way into a lot of these conversations, Wes, that I find funny because it wasn't getting talked about until he was about to be potentially a free agent here, but that nobody, I think in any major American sport, has ever won a championship with 4 different teams. That's been thrown out there. Like, I think Nick Wright was talking it up and different people like that.
To do it in Miami,
I'm not sure.
Los Angeles, and New York, not just 4 different locations. Miami, Los Angeles, and New York. And then he should do the 1 year in New York and then do 1 more year in Chicago, and then you've got it. There
you go. I love the way you're just assume like, and then they'll just win the championship. Like, but I think that it looks so this year. I think we've learned, right, and we can wrap up on this. Like he was pretty much a first and fourth quarter player in this Denver series. Is that fair to say? Like he would come out, getting downhill in transition, very aggressive, lurching out, blocking Jamal Murray's jumpers out of nowhere, blocks at the rim, great moments, and then just sort of bide his time as that lead trickled away and Denver made its run, and then he would be like, great, they're going to do that, so I'll save my energy for the fourth quarter, and I'll make one last push there and see if we can get some of these wins. It didn't work because the Nuggets are the Terminator, but I think it highlights that we are finally seeing the next whatever. This guy is not in his prime anymore. This is not the best of the best of the best. You put him as the number 1 option on your team, and you're going to be this good and get that far and have this much of a chance to win the championship. So I do think that has to factor in. I'm not saying anything. It's not even about Anthony Davis. It's about the fact that after that, it's Austin Reeves, and there's no depth.
Right.
And everything else. And so I do think the basketball situation, in order for him to even feel like he has a good chance to win a title, has to be significantly better than it is in LA. And that means, are you really going to want your team that's getting you to trade for you? Because then they're going to give a bunch of stuff up. Are they even going to be good enough anymore? What's the age and mileage on the guys you're joining? If that matters. But again, we don't fully know what matters. It does. I think you're totally right that we don't know if he knows what matters.
I love the way you frame that, too, as sort of like a first and fourth quarter guy. Like, we're kind of entering the Mariano Rivera portion of LeBron's career, where maybe he's just the ultimate closer that leads to championships, right? Rivera's got 5 championships. LeBron's got 4. You know, there's a chance for him to get... I do. If he plays this summer right, there's a chance for him to get another one. There is a chance for him to get 5. And that has to be in the back of his mind.
What's the best option if that is priority number 1? Forget Bronny, forget money, forget ownership, forget comfort of LA, proximity.
Go yeah, just go to the best team already. Just go to Denver. Yeah. But that's what I was gonna ask you was, what would be the best possible team that he can go to without getting the Kevin Durant shade when Durant went to the Warriors in 2017? You know, because you can't go to the ready-made team. It can't be Denver. It can't be Boston. It can't be either of those teams. So is it just those 2? Is there another team on that list?
I think he would get that similar shade if he did go to the Warriors, even though we seem to be in agreement that that probably isn't even a contender. It would just feel like even more than Durant, it would be like you're joining the team that was you. If you had a rival, given how many eras of your career there have been, it was the Warriors.
It is
and
almost
for your
a little
last hurrah to be there. Like, what are we doing here?
It's a little bit like nobody wants to see the Warriors break up. Like everybody wants to see Steph, Clay, and Draymond end their careers together. Nobody wants to see LeBron go be a part of that, especially if it costs them Klay Thompson or something like that.
Especially because of how much that rivalry is already kind of split apart over the years. They hated each other. Now they're all best friends. Like, what are we really doing? And then if they were to play together. So, yeah, but I think the place
might also be on that list just because crossing
he would
town,
never do that.
No, he wouldn't. But I would just that would be the only other team on that list.
LA fans would just laugh him off the face of the planet, I think, if he joined the number 2 squad out there. Look, I think the team that is the most realistic, that is the one that I have 2. Well, I have 3. I have 3 places he could go that it wouldn't get made fun of necessarily. It would make basketball sense, and I think it would be intriguing to the average basketball fan more so than obnoxious. The Sixers.
Thought about them.
Getting that team over the hump.
Yeah.
Playing with Embiid. They have a hole at the wing, if Harris leaves especially.
And they have cap space. It's the cleanest thing where it's like, okay, you could go play with 2 stars and a former MVP in Joel Embiid, and you could still get your max contract, and we could still figure out the depth part of this. You know, maybe guys like Oubre and Nick Batum and guys like that are willing to come back. Lowry's willing to come back. Maybe they shave off take a little bit less to play with you.
Sure.
It's a clean. I just don't love the idea of LeBron at this stage in his career hitching his wagon to Joel Embiid, whose body just breaks down every year. And that's the thing that's why it should have been on my list over the Warriors. It should have been number 5, but it's what gives me pause there.
Okay. And then I have the Heat. It's not really what they need as far as how they should be spending their resources, but a very maybe reimagined version of that Miami team obviously has the identity and depth and Bam and, whatever else would be left over. I don't think he would be laughed at. Is that a chance for him to win a championship? Maybe less so. And then I have the Suns. It would be a minimum, but I think it would not be laughed at, I guess, is really the place that I'm at with it. You think it would?
100%.
Just because the Suns are a laughingstock in general, or because of the
it would be laughed at because the Suns' problem isn't that they don't have enough star power. It would just be like,
that's fair. But it would be like all they could bring him in is a minimum. So it would be like their minimum signing point guard that everybody thinks they need.
That's true. Yeah, it's better than campaign, I guess. But it's
and then I do think the Knicks are on there too. I think if he went to New York, like it would be sort of eye rolled by like the national media who are just tired of the star players team jumping.
But it wouldn't. That's my point. Is because the whole national media wants the Knicks to be good. They would celebrate it. Everybody's based in New York City. Like, oh, I get to go cover LeBron at Madison Square Garden. There's
goes nobody's gonna.
It does, and that's why I'm saying like it cannot be panned if he goes to the Knicks. It can't.
There is the CAA, former agent stuff there, so I'm not sure how that would play in. If there's rumors that those factions of agencies don't like each other with Rich Paul leaving once upon a time and all that, but who knows? I'm not going to pretend like I have an inside read on Leon Rose versus Rich Paul 15 years later, but it would at least come up.
I think you're right. I think you should just go to Miami.
Perfect. And I think you should just go to Phoenix. I think I think we've settled on our preferred destinations there. All right. That'll wrap us up for the Wednesday, May 1st edition of the Just Basketball Show. Back later in the week, Chris and I will have you hooked up on more Game 5s as the playoffs roll along, more post-mortems as these teams get eliminated. It is that time of year. Hit follow or subscribe if you haven't already. Get a new episode in your feed every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here at the Just Basketball Show. Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your social media content, as well as our YouTube channel. And we will catch you guys later in the week.